I have again Mr. David with me on the call, and today we're going to be talking about the future of certain countries, certain trends that we've been observing. Thank you for coming, David. I wanted to start out here talking a little bit about the trend that we're seeing with a lot of people from mainland China leaving China. Of course, they're taking the wealth with them and they're leaving to all kinds of places. They're moving their money from China into Latin America. A lot of them are going now to Argentina, Brazil. They're also trying to get into Paraguay. And of course, they're also going to countries that are very developed: Canada, United States, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and of course, also the European Union. What's important to consider here, David, is that the people who left, they're not poor. They're also not middle class, because if you're middle class in China, you're not going to get out. Because to get out, you need a long term visa, a residence permit. If you want to open up a business in Canada, in Montreal, or if you want to open one up in Texas or in Mexico City, what do you need? You need money. You need resources, right? So the people that are leaving, they're actually quite wealthy. And China is losing their richest people. Of course, not all of them, but many of them are leaving for the reason that they don't want to be tied to communists. And what they also want, like the Chinese are also very family oriented. We have some Chinese clients, and they're telling me they're moving out because of these reasons.
I know that like in Paraguay, there's not much Chinese because it's a one layer more difficult than pretty much everybody. Here we see a lot of like Japanese, French, and German. There's a lot of German here. Why Paraguay? I don't know. Like I talk with people, like it's more affordable. They want peace of mind. But what I see so far, it's a lot like there's nomad younger people. They came here, like I said in one of our video, like they came here, they have their residency, and then they go to the beach because they still want to live the dream lifestyle, which is pretty much, by the way, guys, impossible to work with your computer at the beach. It sucks. It's not fun. The computer is really warm, so don't think about this. Like keep working under the AC. It makes you much more productive. But anyway, younger nomad, they come and go. But there's a lot of retired people from Germany, France, a lot of people like this. And I think that younger people start to understand because we became smarter and smarter. You know, the millennial generation. We became old enough to have money to live the country, smart enough to be able to do stuff like this. You know, some will do in their 20s, but not everybody have this kind of mindset in their 20s. You know, younger family where like I've seen couple Canadian families like okay, it doesn't make sense anymore. The cost of living is crazy. So they came here. So yeah, I will say Japanese, a lot of German and French people, European in general, a little bit of Ukrainian now since the conflict in Ukraine, a little bit of Russian, but not much. It's really the fun here is it's really multicultural country, and it's always been like this. So that's nice. Like you go even in Mexico and like you stand out. Like I'm clearly not Mexican. I'm clearly not from South America. So you stand out. Okay. Here in Paraguay, you do stand out, of course, a little bit, but it's much more multicultural. And it's always been like this because you have the Guarani language, you have the Spanish language, and you have other dialect that people talk. And you always add a lot of German and stuff like this. So it always been multicultural. And even since the Spanish came here at first, you have church and stuff like this, that difference, like the religion or there's not much conflict in this term. So that's pretty fun to be in a country like this.
I think it's actually quite surprising considering the history between Latin America and Europe. I mean, that they opened their arms to us like they're doing right now. I mean, we got there. I mean, technically speaking, not you and me, David, but our ancestors, and maybe not our direct ancestors, but they went there, they destroyed the culture, right? They extracted the wealth and other things were done too. Yet we're so welcome there, right? So we really have to be grateful for this fact. And like you say, Paraguay is becoming more integrated with other cultures, right? Which is
Yeah.
great. What you also pointed out, which I totally agree with, is that so many people are leaving certain countries for a better life. And like you said, people have their individualistic reasons to do that. In Europe now, what we're seeing is that many people are leaving Europe for so many reasons, like inflation. They're not happy with, what they're doing, or like people are also not happy with the family life being destroyed. Like there's so many reasons why people are leaving Europe to go to a place like Paraguay. I always believe that the people with skills and money and smarts, they will always find ways to get out of a country and go to a place where they can monetize their skills and also uplift their living standards and also create a better future for the family, right? It's the complete package. It's not just the money why people are moving, or it's like their main priority, but there are many people that are moving because they just want to create like a brighter future. And this entails everything. It doesn't just entail like inflation, right? Or being able to homeschool your kids because the government might not care as much if you're doing it, right? There's no supervision for that, stuff like that. One thing I wanted to add here, which is what I'm seeing, right? Because many people are saying like America is in decline. Militarily speaking, I feel like that's true in many ways. But if we're taking a look at innovation and the kind of people America is putting out, I don't think America is in decline at all. I think America is doing better than ever before. I also feel like America has a bright future because it attracts all kinds of immigrants, like high quality, which are needed for innovation and stuff. Like, for instance, now in America, the ethnicity group that makes the most money are Indian Americans,
Yeah.
like intelligent, hardworking, smart, brains. I mean, everything, right? They have the complete package. Like, they are like overpowering the rest. They're dominating, right? It's impressive. I feel like America is getting a lot of good immigrants, Of course, they're also getting like other immigrants, that are doing simpler jobs, but they also need it in many ways. Just taking a look at it, from a innovation perspective, I think America is on the right track and America is really putting out good people. You're Canadian. I don't know that much about Canada and how that applies to Canada, right? But I'm an immigrant in America, right? And it's just what I'm seeing that certain things are actually heading in the right direction. Whereas in Europe, like Europe is not attracting the highest quality of immigrants at all. Like the people that want to be successful in business, they rarely go to Europe. For instance, the people with money in Europe, okay, there are certain types of people, like certain people, let's say they work online, they're entrepreneurs, the ones that are successful, a lot of them don't stay in Europe. They go to Asia, they go to Malaysia, they go to like Thailand, work from there, right? But then there are also people that are like very driven that have their own businesses and that want to build much more than that. And those people, they are mostly going to like London or they're going to the US. That's pretty much it. Europe is losing the best of people in many regards. And then the immigrants that are coming in are much worse than the immigrants America is getting. Do you want to weigh in a little bit what you're seeing in your country, in Canada, and what the future might
Like
hold?
for me, the biggest concern I have is hospital is free. It's not free. Like nothing is free. Okay, but the seen as free. Okay, and then if they don't work, like in Quebec, you can have the BS. And it's not for the bad words. The bien-être social in French. You're getting paid for doing nothing. So like, oh, I can find a job, and if you have less than that money in your account, like government will pay you. And people like I know a lot of people that work under the table and they get paid by the government. Like I was working my ass off in sales and stuff like this, and had people with brand new car and then brand new TV, brand new couch. They are on the government paychecks. Like what? So this is the most dangerous part, I think. And right now, what they do with immigration a lot is they pay people. People immigrate and they pay them. Like okay, and this is what make me think me I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be an immigrant somewhere because apparently countries treat immigrant better than their own people. So I'm gonna be an immigrant somewhere and be treated better than your own people. And this is what happened in Mexico. This is what happened here in Paraguay. You're gonna be better treated than people here. And that's kind of a trend that every country have. The big money here, it's big company. It's not every people. Big company come here because land or good food, good quality, and it's a flat country. So for farming and stuff like this, really good. The country is going in a better direction, I think. Like they are talking about expanding the airport, rail train, like the train. I don't know why any country will make the train disappear, but apparently we did. In Canada, we don't have to train anymore. Much of this. They're talking about building one back and stuff like this. So you're like, okay, coming back in the subject you ask is, I think finding a place where people are hard workers and have a long-term vision. And I think this is why Asia is evolving much faster than South America because a lot of people don't have the same vision. They are poor, so they think day to day. So that's something to keep in mind. Like if you want employee here, if you want, stuff like this, it's gonna be tricky. You need to educate your employees. You can have great workers, I'm pretty sure of that, but you're gonna need to educate them for sure.
You made some really good points. I just want to weigh in here. Like one of the things that you pointed out.